Two factors determine the cost of owning a portable air conditioner. The first factor is, of course, the initial price of the portable air conditioner itself. The second factor is the long-term cost of ownership. Today, we're going to start by talking about the initial price and how you can get the best value just in terms of the initial price of the portable air conditioner. Now, when buying a portable air conditioner, the most important deciding factor that you should use to decide which unit to actually buy is cooling capacity. Now, in the past, cooling capacity was difficult to compare between different units. You would look at a particular 8,000 BTU unit, and then all 8,000 BTU units would appear to have the same cooling capacity, 8,000 BTUs. Recently, a new method for testing portable air conditioners was released, and that new method involves accounting for two major portable air conditioner inefficiencies. The first inefficiency involves the fact that portable air conditioners remove air from a room without replacing it. Essentially, the condenser down here needs to be cooled down. It pulls in air to cool itself. As it pulls in that air to cool itself, it never replaces that air. So the room itself becomes an area of low pressure. The outdoor air, by comparison, is at a higher pressure level. So that outdoor air is constantly getting pulled into the room through any air gaps it can find. And that contributes to the unit's inefficiency. The second major inefficiency is the ducting itself. So a duct attaches to the back of the unit here. It runs to a bracket in your window, and then that duct allows warm exhaust air to travel through and out through your window. The duct itself is normally made of a very thin plastic to allow the duct to be flexible and bend easily, and also to allow for reasonable shipping weight on these units. So the duct is not heavily insulated, and because of that, it tends to radiate heat back into the room. And that radiated heat is also another inefficiency for these units. So the old standard for measuring BTUs would not take into account these inefficiencies. It simply would not. The new method for measuring BTUs does absolutely take into account these inefficiencies. And when it does, it reduces the actual BTUs, and we see a difference in BTUs between different models within the same traditional BTU class. So this model right here is a 10,000 BTU unit by traditional standards for measuring BTUs. By the new standard, it's only a 6,500 BTU model. Other 10,000 BTU models are now 5,500 BTUs, or 6,000 BTUs, or 5,800 BTUs. So in this way, even when shopping within the same traditional BTU category, you can distinguish between the actual cooling capacity by the new standard for measuring BTUs, which is called seasonally adjusted cooling capacity. We just call it SAC for short, as that's what the abbreviation reads when you read it. So SAC is what you should be looking at to see the actual cooling capacity for these units. So when you use SAC to compare different units, you see the true value of different units. For example, a very popular 14,000 BTU unit is the LG LP1419 IVSM. So that unit right there, that's a 14,000 BTU unit. It has a SAC of 10,000 BTUs, and it retails for about $700. Now there's another 14,000 BTU LG unit on the market. It has a lower SAC of about 8,000 BTUs, and that unit retails for much cheaper. It's only about $500. So between the more expensive LG and the less expensive LG, if you were to compare them by the old method for measuring BTUs, you would look at them and say, these two units have the same cooling capacity. Why is one $200 more than the other one? By the new standard using SAC, you can now see, okay, this one unit is at 8,000 BTUs, the other unit is at 10,000 BTUs, the more expensive unit is at 10,000 BTUs. So now I understand why this unit is more expensive. So tying that back into our discussion on value and price here, we can use SAC to look at the actual price to performance ratio of these different units. When we do that for the more expensive LG, we see that $700 divided by 10,000 BTUs gives us a ratio of about 0.07. So that means that you're paying about 7 cents per BTU for the more expensive unit. The other unit, when you do the same math with that unit using its SAC and its price, you get to a price per BTU of about 6 cents per BTU. So when you do the math and you get the ratio for each unit for that SAC to dollar ratio, you see that even though the one unit is $200 more expensive than the other unit, the difference in the price per BTU is really only about 1 cent between these particular two units. So you can also do the same when you compare units in different traditional BTU categories. For example, 8,000 BTU units tend to be much less expensive, maybe in the $300 range. Those units also have a much lower SAC. So when you do the ratio for those units, you find that they also have a ratio, maybe 5 cents, 6 cents, 7 cents per BTU for those units. So now if you were to compare the actual value of an 8,000 BTU unit compared to a 14,000 BTU unit, you're not just comparing apples and oranges here. You can compare the actual price to BTU ratio of these different units. Now, we've scoured the market and looked at a whole plethora of different models, and we've come up with the following table that you can use to determine if a particular portable air conditioner is a good value. Generally, if the $2 SAC ratio is 8 cents per BTU, then you know that you're dealing with a unit that is a poor value. So anything that is greater than or equal to 8 cents per BTU is going to be a poor value. Anything that is 7 cents per BTU is going to be a moderate value. And anything that is less than or equal to 6 cents per BTU is going to be a good value. So you generally what you want to do is you want to find the price of a unit. You can then find the SAC of that unit. Today, it is quite easy to find that number in addition to the traditional BTUs. Look for the SAC BTUs. Sometimes it's called 2017 DOE BTUs. It goes by a number of different names. But if there are two different BTU values attached to a particular model, look for the lower number. That's going to be the SAC number there. And take that number and then take the price and then divide the price by that number to find the cost per BTU. And again, if you do that, if the value is greater than or equal to 8 cents, you have a poor value. If it's 7 cents, it's a moderate value. If it's less than or equal to 6 cents, it's a good value. So you can use that as a baseline to find out if something is really a good value, independent of the price itself. So that takes care of the initial cost of a portable air conditioner. But the truth here is that initial price only represents a small fraction of the overall cost of ownership. A much more significant factor here is long-term cost of ownership, and that's what we're going to be looking at next. Now, with long-term cost of ownership, there's really only two factors that you need to keep in mind here. The first is reliability and durability. The second factor is energy cost. So we have durability and reliability as the first factor and energy cost as the second factor for long-term cost of ownership. Let's first take a look at durability and reliability. Now, when it comes to durability and reliability, the most important fact here is the fact that portable air conditioners tend to last about 10 years on average. This is a real number that is given by the Department of Energy. They give us an estimate that says, based on their own research, that these units tend to last about 10 years. So taking that into account, we can take the initial cost and divide that up into 10 years. So the LG that we talked about earlier that retails for about $700, that translates to a yearly cost of $70 of that unit. The less expensive unit, it retails for about $500, so that unit ends up being about $50 a year. So that average lifespan for a portable air conditioner gives us the ability to really look at things in a different perspective there, where we're looking at the yearly cost of the unit itself. And when you do that, you realize that you're only paying about $20 more per year for the more expensive option there compared to the less expensive option. And that puts things in perspective versus looking at it as a $200 price difference right off the top there when you buy the units initially. Now, considering that 10-year number there, it's important for us to talk about the actual durability and reliability of different models of different brands here. And the truth of the matter here is that you really have very similar durability and reliability between different models and different brands. This LG we have on the table here is very similarly designed, features very similar internal and external components compared to, let's say, a Frigidaire model or a model by Winter or really any other brand, even Honeywell. These units are all really designed in much the same way, feature very similar components. There's only very small issues that we can point out that we do point out in our individual reviews, where there is maybe a small concern here or there. But overall, really all of these units, independent of their brand, independent of the actual model, most of them are going to have very similar durability, and you can expect really all of them to last about 10 years. That is further demonstrated by the fact that all of these units, independent of brand, come with a 1-year warranty. So if certain brands were maybe more reliable than other brands. You would think that those brands would have longer warranties for their units, but that's simply not the case. All of these units come with the same 1-year warranty. It doesn't matter what portable air conditioner you buy, at least at the time of this video here today, all the models that we've surveyed all come with a 1-year warranty. Now, moving on to energy cost, there's two little subcategories within energy cost itself. The first is raw energy draw for these units, and the second category is actual energy efficiency. So first, let's talk about raw energy cost. So raw energy involves just the raw power draw for these units. How much power do they draw? And the fact here is that almost all portable air conditioners draw a lot of power. These are substantial appliances. They draw over 1,000 watts, most of them do. Even 8,000 BTU units, 10,000 BTU units, they all draw at least 900, 1,000 watts. Yes, 14,000 BTU units, 12,000 BTU units do draw a few hundred watts of power more on average, but all of these units are power-hungry appliances. And the reason why we point this out is because these units are so power hungry, because they draw so much energy, that makes energy efficiency all that more important in the general discussion here. If these units were only to draw maybe 20 watts, 10 watts of power, energy efficiency wouldn't be that important because the difference between 10 watts and 20 watts of power draw, depending on the performance of the unit, it's not really going to make that big of a difference. However, when you're dealing with an appliance that draws this much power, all of this really does make a big difference. Now, when we came to analyzing the initial cost of these units, we looked at the dollar to SAC ratio. How much does it cost per BTU, SAC BTU, to buy these units? When it comes to evaluating energy efficiency, we like to use the ratio of SAC to watts. Now, we could use traditional BTUs here, where we have an 8,000, a 10,000, 12,000, or 14,000 BTU unit and compare it to its power draw. However, SAC is just much more indicative of the actual cooling capacity, of the actual performance of these units. So we find that taking SAC and dividing that by watts is much more effective for finding the true energy efficiency of different units. Now, when we do that, let's go back to those two LG units we talked about at the beginning here. We have the 10,000 BTU SAC unit, and we have the 8,000 BTU SAC unit. Now, those particular LG models both have a power draw of about 1,370 watts, 1,370 watts. So they both have an equal amount of power draw on maximum fan speed and on operating on cooling mode there. So they both draw the same amount of power there on the same setting. And the difference between them is the fact that one is simply more efficient than the other. How do we know that? One has a seasonally adjusted cooling capacity of 10,000 BTUs. The other has a seasonally adjusted cooling capacity of only 8,000 BTUs. So we know that the one performs better than the other one, drawing the same amount of power. When we take SAC and divide it by watts for these two units, we get a larger number for the 10,000 BTU unit compared to the 8,000 BTU unit. And this is to be expected here. And that larger ratio indicates a greater energy efficiency. Now, you can do the same for those two units as you do for any two units in the market. Simply take their SAC BTUs and divide it by their watts, and that's going to give you a ratio. And you can take that ratio, that number, and compare it to the number that you get by doing the same math for a different unit on the market. So in that way, you can compare any two models on the market and see the difference in energy efficiency. So what are the real world implications here, though, if one unit has a higher ratio than the other? Well, back to those two LG units, the first unit, the high SAC unit, is going to cool the room much faster. It's going to need to run less frequently. And because of that, it's going to pull that amount of power for a lower amount of time and less frequently. And because it's doing that less frequently and for a lower amount of time, it's going to cost you less over time to run it. Conversely, the lower BTU unit, the lower SAC unit, is not going to cool as fast. It's going to run more frequently. It's going to need to run for longer periods of time. And because it's running for longer periods of time and it's running more frequently, it's going to draw more power over that duration of time. And because it's drawing more power for a greater duration of time, it's going to cost more to run over time. And so you can see, even though those two units differ in price initially, over time, the energy costs are going to catch up with the cheaper unit. And you're going to see the more expensive unit that was more expensive initially start catching up in terms of which unit is actually more expensive to own over the long term. And the truth is here that the higher SAC units are just the way to go here if energy efficiency, if energy cost is a priority for you. If overall value is a priority for you, you absolutely need to look at energy efficiency, and you're going to get terrific value with the higher energy efficiency units, which are going to tend to be the higher SAC units. So wrapping up this video, what are the main takeaways here? The main takeaways are, first of all, that you have several tools available to you to determine the value of different units on the market. The SAC rating is really critical in all of this. To determine the initial value of any particular model, you're going to take the price and you're going to compare it to the SAC. And you're going to use the ratio there of dollar to SAC to determine the price per BTUs for seasonally adjusted cooling capacity. When it comes to long-term value, you're going to take SAC and divide it by watts to find the energy efficiency of the unit. More energy efficient units are going to cost less to run over time. It's just a fact. And over time, even the most expensive but really energy efficient units will cost less to run over time. It's just an inevitable thing that will happen over time. Now, using these tools ourselves today, as we make this video, there's two models on the market that stand out as the best value options. That aforementioned 10,000 SAC LG is our number one recommendation. It has the highest SAC of any unit on the market, and it would be our number one recommendation as the best value option if value is a strong priority for you. Even despite its high initial cost, that unit will cost less to run in the long term. So if you're looking for long-term cost savings here, there's really no other option other than that LG. Now, if you cannot afford to buy the LG today, that very well may be the case. Maybe you are limited on your budget and you simply don't want to spend that amount of money on a portable air conditioner. Our second recommendation would be another LG, and that LG is the one we have on the table here, this 10,000 BTU unit. 10,000 BTUs by traditional methods. This is a 6,500 BTU unit by the new methods. So 6,500 BTUs, seasonally adjusted cooling capacity. This LG would be our recommendation here. It's going to sit in a nice, comfortable spot there between 8,000 and 12,000, 14,000 BTU units, where it's going to still give you substantial cooling capacity. But because it's only a 10,000 BTU unit, it's going to cost much less. So this unit would be our recommendation if you're looking to spend as little as possible and you still want a good value unit. But keep in mind that this unit is going to cost more to run over time, especially in larger rooms and more difficult to cool rooms. It is going to cost more to run just because it's going to have to run so much more often and for longer periods of time to cool the room. So again, the LG LP1419 IVSM is our recommendation overall. And this LG here, the LG LP1017 WSR, is our recommendation if you are on a limited budget and you cannot afford that initial cost for the LP1419 IVSM.